Welcome to this week's episode of Get Real with Chris and Mark. This week we have Commissioner Eric Colvin from St. Mary's County, and he gave us some real good tidbits that you're going to want to hear. Lots of stuff that's going on here locally in St. Mary's County, so make sure you tune in. So, Commissioner, welcome. Thank you for coming in here. So,
thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm glad you can make it. So,
yeah.
I've known you a long time. And,
and
I'm grateful you could come in and we can talk about what's going on, what's happening, and what's going on in the commissioner world. And it's exciting because there's a whole, got some new board members, right?
Yeah. So
that's kind of good.
I'm in my second term. We got 2 new members on the board. We're all working together well. Okay. We don't always agree, but we didn't always agree before, and that's okay.
You have those challenges, I guess, in jurisdictions like the other areas, and they don't always get along, and then it makes it harder to get anything done.
Yeah, we're looking all right now.
For now, no massive disagreements yet.
Right.
No lawsuits.
No lawsuits that I'm aware of.
That's a good thing. So what's happening? What's new? What do you have? What do you see happening in St. Mary's County?
There's a lot going on. St. Mary's County is a great place to live and work and raise a family. It's incredible. Our airport is just, I don't know the last time you were out there. You need to go check it out.
It's been a while since I've been out there.
You won't recognize it. There was just a chamber event there that was pretty
they just had a chamber event down there. And because we had, I believe there was some representatives from Estonia that were down for it, and that's our sister. We have a sister county in Estonia, and they had brought a big delegation over last August, and I got to meet with them twice and stuff. It's really interesting.
That's pretty neat.
They're,
so you guys share information? Or
there's hopefully there's going to be some business relationships that develop between the two. Maryland has a really long-standing relation with Estonia as a country, and I think our National Guard.
I had no idea.
Our National Guard trains there. They're it's incredible.
That's really interesting.
I know we learn something new every time.
The whole time when he said Estonia, I was like, is that like Estonia, Georgia?
I know, right? I was thinking it too. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool though.
And so our sister county is a place called Parnu in Estonia, and some great people, and very similar in some ways and different in other ways. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
I really like that.
So I was going to say, tell us about the airport, because I'd love to get kind of a rundown of what's going on over there.
There's so much expansion there. I think the company AirTech just expanded a new hangar out there. There's a company that's going to be offering charter flights very soon out of our airport.
That's cool.
We're still working on some runway expansion that's still happening. It's drive through there. Just the synergy between the airport. It's called Aero Park now, the Innovation District. It's our whole innovation district with the airport, the tech port that's located there. Yeah. We're getting a skiff that's coming in there for the Office of Naval Research, and the USM, SM, the University System of Maryland, Southern Maryland there. It's the drone capital. It's incredible, all the drone research that's happening and going to be happening there. It's really high tech. It's
so are we
really
talking
neat
like
stuff.
Obviously like private drone research, so drones for delivery, or are we talking military, or both?
I don't know the specifics. Probably a wide range of stuff.
They talked about it before. It was a wide range of stuff. Right. I really remember. I went there for some event that was there with the drone stuff.
So last summer was the first time we hosted the international drone competition there. It's typically been done down at Webster Field, but it has schools from all over the world that are there. So it became a bit of a security issue to get them onto the base down there. So being able to host them at our airport, it was just a perfect fit. I was able to go out.
Amazing.
So they had to. It was fascinating.
St. Mary's County always blew my mind.
I know, right?
Yes. Big time.
Yes, they had to. These students created the drone that they had to fly, of course, and then the drone had to be able to drop a vehicle that could then drive and pick up a water bottle and bring it back to a certain location. And the controls for the vehicle ran through the airplane. And it just incredible.
That's very cool.
It was very impressive stuff.
A little freaky, actually. Yeah. It's like I've been watching those robotic guys up in New Hampshire, I think, where they have the robot that they push him around and make him fall, and he gets right back up. And it's so crazy how that technology is evolving.
Before you know it, we're gonna have robots crawling all over the place.
Right, right. So, somebody said to me recently, "Hasn't anybody watched TV? Have you seen the movies?" Like,
Right, yeah.
have you seen,
Have you not seen iRobot?
Yeah, I know, right?
That's just like this whole thing with the artificial intelligence right now.
Right,
With, like
right.
Chat.GPT.
It's crazy.
Some pretty crazy stuff.
It is. There's a lot of craziness going on.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting. I mean, St. Mary's County, the commissioners need to be really proud of like a lot of the things that are happening, because I know you get a lot of heat
We
for
do.
a lot of things. But St. Mary's County, you guys have always been open, or tried to be open to being progressively new and innovative.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
you know, the YMCA conversation and things like that have really made, you know, the doors have opened up on so many things.
Yep, it's such a balance. People ask what the commissioner job's like, and it's a balance. It's trying to find. We're in the middle of our budget right now.
Yeah.
and we can go into that if you want, or we can avoid it. If
No,
we're
gonna. No, well, you know, a
It's,
budget's important. The only thing I would say is, you know, we see property taxes,
Yep.
right? And so there has been.
I see 'em
I know
too.
you do, and I think we're very lucky
Yeah.
that the property tax assessments have been what they have been for so long. But
Right.
you know, I think a lot of the government functions on the backs of property taxes. So that always, you know my stand on that. I always like less property taxes, you know, that kind of thing. But
we have one of the lowest property
Right.
tax rates in the state.
right.
Now, it's also, we are one of the few counties where our income tax is actually a little bit higher than our
Right.
property tax
One of the
because
few.
of the base.
It is.
We have such a high incomes in the area that our income tax is over 50%, and our
Yeah,
property
wow.
tax is close to that.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you said, assessments went up big time this
Right.
year. So it is vitally important that people apply for the homestead tax credit.
You
Yep.
have to, right?
It's a one-time thing,
Right.
but it limits how much your tax will increase every
I've
year.
had this conversation probably 5 times in the last few weeks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Actually,
As we talk about it right now, I know there's a client waiting on me to send him some comps for his house right now to try to help him out with his
Yeah.
with his dispute.
I mean, it is really, it is really challenging, especially because we do see people on fixed incomes, and that, and it may not seem like much, but
Right.
I think the state of Maryland property assessments went up like 20% in the last 3 years. 20%.
Well, and I guess it hasn't really. I mean, we haven't really seen it get baked into the mortgage amounts yet.
No, you're right.
Which is a whole other thing. I mean,
Right.
at a time where we're already dealing with payments being ridiculous high due to interest rates,
Right.
you know, now we're going to have these larger assessments coming in with higher taxes,
Right.
and that's going to impact the payment too. So
Absolutely, it
it's
is.
hurting the buyer's ability to qualify even further over
Yep.
and above the rate hikes that we've had. So
That's true. I mean, you can blame some of it on COVID. Not
Yeah.
all of it. Some
Right.
of it on
Right.
COVID. But that just created a whole new environment that kind of just helped focus in on already existing
Yeah.
problems, is how I look at
No, I agree
the
with that.
impact of COVID. Because we
Right.
saw that in other areas in the county with our EMS system.
it wasn't COVID per se.
I think it probably affected it though.
But
Mark.
I mean, COVID was what drew the super low interest rates
Maybe.
that drew the
Yeah.
high sales prices
Yep.
that now these assessments are being based off of. So
Yeah.
I guess COVID was the catalyst.
But the shortage was already building.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, so that's why I say the assessments, we need to be prepared, because the market's changing and evolving. You know, how many houses settled in Calvert County last month?
Last I checked, it was 62
in a month,
in a month.
in the whole month, and
Yeah.
it used to be
200.
200 or 300. Yeah.
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 So, it's the volume in the market is coming down.
Yeah. I'm not
Right.
panicking or anything.
We haven't
I just
seen
put it out there.
We haven't seen values dip
We haven't.
incredibly, and I will
Right.
say I don't know if it's good or bad, but the kind of scary thing that we have right now, I don't know if it's scary. I mean, I guess it's positive if you're a seller, it's bad if you're a buyer, and it's bad if you would like interest rates to come down. But the one thing I'm seeing now is that inventory is still low.
Yeah.
And in just the last few weeks, we've had a huge uptick in buyers. So we've had a
we
lot of
both talked about
buyers.
it, yeah.
Surprisingly, with rates where they are, a lot of buyers stepping into the marketplace, and I don't see the inventory going up.
No.
And that kind of freaks me
Yeah.
out, because it's like, this is not what we need in order to get
Yeah.
some rate relief. You know, like
true.
if everything stays strong,
We
then,
have jobs. We
Yeah.
have jobs. We need people to work them,
Right.
and those
And
people
they
need a place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what it comes
so
down
what
to.
what else is going on? What other new things do you have in St. Mary's County that you're aware of?
Um,
Anything?
Well, there's a lot of exciting stuff. We've got I was told today that Shoppers, the grocery store, is coming into Charlotte Hall and Leonardtown where the McKays used to be.
Oh,
so that's exciting and good, and that's needed.
Good stuff. We need the grocery stores. I
need
know
grocery stores.
You know, what's so funny is I watch, you know, you follow on, you know, Facebook or whatever, and you see when they announce something new is coming, the negativity, everybody, like, there's always this negative segment of,
there
like,
is.
Oh,
there
we're
is.
getting another one of those.
Right.
Why couldn't it have been this?
Yeah.
You know, it's
I mean, I understand it in some cases, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, like I've read, we need another gas station. I heard somebody, you know, that's been the most recent one.
Humans have a negativity bias. And by the way, if they go to build the gas station, then somebody will be mad because they don't want a gas station there.
Right.
So,
Very true.
I mean, I can't, I mean, it's 10 times, well, I don't want to say it's 10 times worse, but it's just as bad, if not worse, than Calvert. That's for sure.
You don't have anything being developed. No, I'm sorry. no, I'm sorry. That was rude. Apologize. Yeah. I'm not knocking Calvert County. I love Calvert County.
Well, I mean, it's just the same dynamic over there. Everybody complains that they don't have X, but then when X gets built, they complain about the fact that it's getting built. They fight they fight change tooth and nail, and the change seems to still happen anyway, but it happens in a way that's to their detriment. You know, it's like you could have embraced it and gotten this, but instead you for lack of better words got the shittier version because you fought.
You know, it's interesting, and I know there's been proposals, and there's new proposals coming out in Annapolis, and I don't think they're gonna, you know, I don't, as they say, I don't think they have legs, right? I don't think it's gonna happen, but you know, there's a actually nationally there's a push for more statewide zoning regulations as opposed to localized zoning. And it's a big push.
That would be bad.
I think so too. I mean, but
we've already been through that. Plan Maryland in 2012. I mean, if you just look at that alone, like, that was a horrible idea.
Yeah.
You know, here we are in our rural counties being forced by the state to push growth towards town centers, and you know, you've got all these tier 4 properties that essentially were capped at, you know, 5 lots when they could have been 300 at one point in time. And then on top of all that, now everybody complains because there's too much density growth inside town centers. So it's like,
so we have that already too in when we talk about green energy and solar. And the state has the ability to override county zoning in order to push in solar farms.
Right.
Which we've, in St. Mary's County, we are well positioned with some great areas for solar that won't impact and
that was, you know, what's the impact of how many acres of land you have to use for solar to provide for your development costs are actually you're better off building a subdivision than
don't even get me started on the solar.
Well, the challenge is always the rural counties are bearing the weight that the urban center counties don't want to do. All those flat rooftops that they could have.
Trees to put solar
panels
in.
Exactly. My argument was always
the economic impact, or not the ecological, environmental impact of cutting down this entire area of forest to put in these solar panels, which, by the way, raise the temperature of the atmosphere. Just so you know.
Well, you also have, like, you know, I mean, I think there was a big mistake in those bills, and like they weren't counting rooftop solar. You know, so like there's this big imbalance.
That's where solar should go. It should be incentivized to go on rooftops, to go on building rooftops over parking lots. We shouldn't be tearing down trees in rural areas.
Senator Ellis actually put in a bill that I am really excited about.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
25% tax credit for rooftop solar, for residential rooftop solar.
Nice.
No cost to the counties. It's all on the state. So we'll see if it gets
where
any
that
momentum
goes. I haven't looked
where
at
it goes,
where it made it, but so I mean, that's exciting. I mean, what do you think your challenges are coming up in the next, you know, term?
It's the same challenges that everywhere in the country has. I mean, growth, how to deal with growth, how to encourage the right kind of growth, our EMS system, and ensuring that we have the support for our volunteers so that if you pick up the phone and call 911, an ambulance better be there.
I mean, we're one of the few volunteer counties in the state, aren't we? I mean, like,
we are. We've gone to a partial career service to backfill and support the volunteers, but it's a challenge.
I mean, it's been a very successful system for generations. So I mean, it really, you know, it can work for sure.
But hiring, just simply hiring people, wages, competing on wages, and one of the new governor's primary things is rebuilding state government. That means backfilling all of the state agencies that are low on numbers, so there are probably going to be salary increases there, and we have to compete with that. And
yeah, I saw. I think in your last commissioner meeting, you guys made some adjustments for the state's attorney's office, and so
we did.
That was interesting to watch and listen.
It was, and stay tuned. It'll continue to be interesting.
I have a feeling it will be. Yeah, I did have a feeling.
But
they're funding the additional staff out of reserves, right? I mean, it's
right now. But it'll be built into our next fiscal budget.
Yeah.
Limited resources. We're not going to raise taxes. There's only so much money, and there's a lot more needs.
But with the increase in assessments, I mean, shouldn't you be receiving a lot more taxes than you were?
We will be. So we are estimating, right now we're looking at $11 million, or right around, rough numbers, $11 million more than what we got last year. But that $11 million can only be split so many ways.
Yeah, it's not that much money when you're talking about running a county government. However,
well, when you didn't have it, I disagree. When you have if you got an injection of $11 million because assessments went up, that's really good for a local government.
Oh, well, it's not. Yeah,
but a lot of those are going to get challenged.
Right.
And what if values do come down in the
3 more years?
You got to plan for that.
I mean, you do.
We'll be moving quickly if that happens. Then that'll be.
I gotta say, I don't know enough about the budget, but I know enough that you guys have done such a really excellent job
thank you.
compared to other jurisdictions about how they manage their money, right? For real.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, just because you have it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be spent, right? You know, and eventually if it's too much, then you give it back to the people. That's the way I feel about it, but I know that's hard to do.
I've said that a lot. We're not a bank. We're not in the business of collecting money.
Right.
It belongs to the taxpayers one way or the other.
Right.
We have to pay for our schools. That's mandated by law, and there's a
new thing
big
coming.
push. The blueprint is going on, and there's a lot of funding needed.
Kerwin.
Teachers' starting salaries within a few years need to be $60,000.
What are they now?
49,000 and some.
Jump. That's a big jump.
There's a big jump coming, and that's mandated by law, and we'll get there.
Which I think the salaries rightfully so.
Yeah.
But obviously that's going to be but that's not the only cost with Kerwin.
It
that's
is
just
not.
a piece of the puzzle.
There's a huge back-end cost because there's these 5 pillars, which I don't have memorized, but one of them is accountability.
Right.
Accountability means more oversight at the county level, at the state level, and you got to pay for it all.
And that means more people. I mean,
more people,
and then
it snowballs.
Yeah, that's tough though. But I really do see that you guys. It's a thoughtful process. Not everyone's happy, right? Let's be real. Not everybody not everybody comes in there is happy. I always say, like, I watched you guys at a public hearing one time. This is probably a little whatever, but I watched you up there, and then there's these. I know enough about what's going on locally to hear, and then they're going at you for certain things, and you guys are just sitting there and and listening, and I'm like, I could never do that because my face and my reactions would have been like, "Are you nuts? I mean, are you crazy? That's not how it works."
It's sometimes it's a challenge.
I can imagine.
And sometimes we do respond.
But I mean, St. Mary's County, it's interesting because there's so many people that are going to say, it's changed so much, and it has. And it has, but I haven't gone anywhere that I was at when I was a kid that it hasn't changed significantly, right? You know what I mean? Like everywhere I've ever gone, it's changed so much.
You have to embrace change and manage it in the right way, and that's what a good set of county commissioners does. Versus trying to fight it. If you fight it, then it usually doesn't work out too well.
We talk about this a lot, Mark and I have, but it's interesting because the oversight of local government, for example, right? If you guys, there's so much negativity, and we hear all the time that there's so much growth, and we have all this new development. Well, in housing, it's really not that much compared to what we have had, right? Like, it's slow right now. There's not a lot of new developments coming up. There's not a lot of big subdivisions that are happening.
I think over the last 10 years, there's been a handful that have sprouted up. But what a lot of folks don't realize is that there's really not a whole lot behind that. I know in St. Mary's, I think you're probably going to see more growth around the Leonardtown area.
Yeah, we've got some coming in now.
Yeah, but outside of that, I mean, when you head up towards like Mechanicsville, Charlotte Hall, stuff, I mean, there's no real big stuff coming in. I mean, those 300, 400 lot subdivisions.
They're not around.
Yeah, and people don't understand. They take like 10 years to get to
Right.
the point that you actually put a
and those
shovel
are
in the
they're
ground,
also a big.
so.
I mean, let's be real. They help fund a lot of things when you build a new subdivision. Like sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes they fund schools, roads,
Road
additional
improvements,
stuff.
and our schools are almost at capacity
Right.
too.
Right.
So schools aren't cheap anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that
it costs a lot to build.
You know,
a school.
enrollment has been down though,
has
essentially
been.
for many years now. It's been several years that enrollment's been down, and I think to myself, I'm like, the budget's continued to go up, but enrollment's gone down. So, I mean, at some point, you have to look at that and say, wait a minute, you know, the per pupil.
Part of you wonders.
You know,
if
I'm an
it's-
advocate for, you know, the money flowing with the pupil, but the student.
Right.
But, you know, that's at some point though, they're gonna.
Yeah, we're starting to see it come back. It's not quite to the pre-pandemic levels, but it's starting to come back a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you have a lot of exciting things happening in St. Mary's County.
Cool.
So I know you guys are big on food.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant in St. Mary's
Oh,
County?
you can't do that to me. My favorite restaurant.
I'll tell you a story.
Oh wow.
I'll tell you a story. I'm not going to name names, but I was talking to some of the Calvert County commissioners, and so we were talking about how, you know, we each respectively, when we want to take our wives out for a date night, or our spouses like to leave the county so that they're not bombarded by people who know us.
Right.
Interesting.
And the Calvert County commissioner talked about his restaurants that he likes to come to in St. Mary's County, and he likes to go to Chiefs.
Oh wow.
Chiefs is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Stuffed ham egg rolls.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's right.
Delicious.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but it's
Actually,
awesome.
yeah, right down the street. You know,
Yeah.
no, it's just a. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I have so many
It's
good
so
I
tough.
know.
restaurants.
You can't have
We're
It's
gonna
so
have
tough
to-
because it's like, you know, it depends on the time of day.
It
Depends
does.
on the day of the week. You
I mean,
know.
we try. Mark and I, like, you know, I pride myself on checking out different restaurants and trying new things, and we have and we did our spotlight, our hidden gems.
Hidden gems. Yeah, it's a really good episode. We touch on a lot of that.
Yeah. So
But if I'm going out for a nice date night, I think probably Sweet Bay.
Sweet Bay's good.
everybody likes
Yeah.
Sweet Bay. Yeah.
You got to get down to Pier 450.
Pier
so-
I know, I
450
haven't
is
made it
really
down
good,
there
yeah.
yet.
Pier 450
450
is delicious.
And any of the restaurants in Leonardtown have just done so good.
yeah.
I mean,
They
honestly, there's some pretty good restaurants around.
And I took my family out to the new the Flashback in Lexington Park. It's where the mixing bowl used
Oh,
to be.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
kind
I
of
read
a
about
50s
that.
themed.
I haven't been
It was
there.
good. It was
Okay.
fun. Good family atmosphere. It was
Awesome.
nice.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
gotta check that out. I haven't
Yeah.
been there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, with that,
Yeah.
thank you very much for coming in here.
Thank
You're welcome
you.
anytime, and if we have
Wonderful.
any, we'll be calling you if we have a topic that we want to like.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Anytime.
if there's some hot
Anytime.
buttons, we'll bring you back in here.
Please do. I look forward
Air
to
it
it.
out. That's right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.